Cloud WAN is a new service that AWS introduced in 2022. It allows you to create an AWS managed network to simplify networking in AWS. Cloud WAN has a component called Core Network Edge, and this Core Network Edge is very similar to Transit Gateway. You can attach your VPCs to the Core Network Edge using VPC attachments. It supports terminating IPsec tunnels and connect and GRE tunnels. And also, when you create these core network edges, they will establish connectivity with each other by default. So this is something that is not available with transit gateways. Now today, if you create two separate transit gateways, let's say one in AWS California and the other one in AWS Virginia, by default, those two transit gateways don't talk to each other. You have to create static routes if you want them to talk to each other. But that's not the case with core network edges. The way you create core network edges is also different from the way you create transit gateways. So first of all, you must create what's called a global network in AWS for you to deploy or start using Cloud WAN. And inside that global network, you must create a core network. And this is the network that's managed by AWS. It contains the VPCs and the core network edges. And the way that you create these core network edges inside a core network is using a core network policy. When you want to create multiple core network edges, what you have to do is you have to go to the core network policy page on AWS and select all the AWS regions that you want to create core network edges. Now with transit gateways, that's not the case. Like you have to go to each region, you have to click the transit gateway page, assign CIDR blocks to transit gateways and create them one at a time. In a Cloud WAN architecture, you create these core network edges in a single page. And when you apply that core network policy, AWS will go ahead and create these core network edges in the regions that you selected. And similar to a transit gateway, you can attach VPCs to a core network edge. You can establish connect attachments to a core network edge. And also you can establish IPsec tunnels if you have some on-prem sites or any virtual network devices that need to establish connectivity using IPsec. One important capability is that Cloud WAN in general also supports 20 segments. The only difference is that when you used a transit gateway, you had to create those route tables inside the transit gateway manually. If you wanted to create 5 route tables, you had to create those 5 route tables manually and give them separate names. But in a Cloud WAN architecture, if you want 5 segments, you name them in the core network policy. And when you apply the core network policy, AWS will make sure that they are going to create those route tables inside each core network edge. And those segments can span across AWS regions, as I've shown in this diagram. So here I have 2 production VPCs in California and another 2 production VPCs in Virginia. And since I put them in the same production segment, the workloads in these VPCs can talk to each other without you having to do like a bunch of things on the route tables. So that's a new capability that AWS introduced with Cloud WAN. Basically, segmenting your AWS network becomes much easier with Cloud WAN.